After discovering that my wife was cheating on me, I took her lover's wife to a party and our revenge was brutal. It all started with a text message. Not on my phone but on hers. I should have been focused on making breakfast, ready to start the day. But when I walked into the kitchen that morning, something felt off. Sophia had left her phone on the counter while she ran upstairs to grab her purse. It was unusual for her to leave it unlocked, but maybe she was in a rush. Or maybe she just didn't think. Lately she'd been like that, distant, hurried. I chalked it up to a passing phase. After all, we'd been married 10 years. 10 years of laughter, fights, and what I thought was unbreakable trust. But in that moment, that trust shattered like cheap glass hitting the floor. The phone buzzed again. I glanced over, maybe out of curiosity, maybe because something inside me screamed to look. I didn't want to. I tried to resist, but something shifted. I leaned in. The message on the screen burned my eyes. "Can you come earlier? I can't wait to see you again." It was from someone named Daniel. My mind went blank. The words danced in front of me. It couldn't be. Sophia, my wife, was texting someone like that? I didn't want to believe it. So I picked up the phone just to check. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. I opened the thread, and the words on the screen stabbed me in the chest. The more I read, the clearer it became. Hotel rooms, late-night meetups, plans to meet at a lounge that very night. Even intimate exchanges. This wasn't work. This was something else. Something that tore me apart inside, like standing on the edge of a cliff staring down at sharp rocks. She was having an affair. I tried to breathe to calm down. This couldn't be happening. But there it was, proof right in front of me. Sophia, my wife, the woman I loved, the one I'd built my life with, was writing to him like they were more than colleagues. They were lovers. The room started spinning. My pulse pounded in my ears as I kept reading. They weren't subtle. They were brazen. And it was real. The walls felt like they were closing in. How long had this been going on? How had I not noticed? Then, as if I wasn't already reeling, I saw it. A reservation for that very night at the Chelsea Lounge. Dinner, drinks, a rendezvous. They were meeting that night. And Sophia had the nerve to tell me she was going out to dinner with work friends. My heart jumped into my throat. I couldn't let her get away with it. I sat there in the kitchen holding the phone like it weighed 1,000 pounds. The air felt thick, sick, suffocating. Betrayal has a strange way of stopping time. Everything around you slows while you drown in disbelief. Sophia came back downstairs, light steps, radiant face, like nothing was wrong. She kissed my cheek, grabbed her keys and said, "I'm going out to dinner with some colleagues. Don't wait up." Her voice was so casual, so normal, like nothing had changed. Like my world hadn't just exploded. I barely answered, keeping my voice steady. "Sure." She smiled, oblivious, and left, leaving me alone with the wreckage of our life in my hands. The phone sat in front of me, screen still glowing with her lies. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I wasn't sure I could. But I couldn't just sit there. I needed to know who this Daniel was. I needed to understand what I was up against. Because something told me this wasn't just about infidelity. It was about taking back control. After Sophia walked out that door, her phone still warm in my hands, I did what any betrayed person would do. I looked for answers. Not to cry. Not to beg for explanations. I wanted the cold, hard, unfiltered truth. And I wanted to hit where it hurt most. The name was right there like a stubborn stain. Daniel. My fingers shook on the screen. Who was he? Did I know him? Had he ever been in our home, at a party, an event? Was he a coworker? An old friend? Or worse, someone I trusted? It didn't take long to find out. A quick search on social media and public records was enough. Daniel Whitmore. Corporate lawyer. Specialized in international mergers. Top of his class graduate. Frequent speaker at elite conferences. Attractive face, measured smile. The kind of man who looks like he owns the world and knows it. Lived on the Upper East Side in one of those 24-hour doorman buildings with private elevators. Everything on his online profile was flawless. Professional photos, tailored suits, exclusive meetings. A carefully curated human portfolio designed to project power. But among all that shine, one thing stopped me cold. Next to him in at least 5 photos was the same woman. Petite, brown hair, sharp features, perfectly made up even at outdoor events. Always impeccably dressed, always elegant. She didn't smile much, but when she did, it looked rehearsed. Victoria Whitmore. His wife. And just like that, everything changed. It wasn't just Sophia and her betrayal anymore. It wasn't just my pain, my rage, the feeling of losing control over my life. There was another victim. A woman who, at that very moment, probably still believed her world was balanced. That her husband worked late, that he was successful, that the silences were just stress. A woman who likely had no idea what was happening behind her back. For a second I hesitated. Did I have the right to drag her into this storm? Did she deserve to be pulled into it? I imagined myself in her place, which wasn't hard. I was that other side. And then I knew the answer. Yes, she deserved to know. Not because she was guilty. Not because I needed revenge. But because she also deserved to choose what to do with her life, armed with the truth. Because if Daniel was cheating on her the way Sophia was cheating on me, she was living on a house of cards too. One that could collapse any second. And it was better for it to collapse now while there was still some integrity left to salvage. I didn't have a plan yet. I didn't know if I'd talk to her directly or find another way. But I knew I wouldn't stay silent. Because silence is the betrayer's best ally. And I'd been silent long enough. The next day I waited outside Daniel's building. One of those mirrored glass skyscrapers where even the reflection is curated to show only the best. It towered over the city like a quiet declaration. The untouchables live here. It was cold. I'd been standing there over an hour, hands buried in my pockets, mind stretched tight as a violin string. I could have texted. I could have called. But something told me this had to be done in person. And then I saw her. Victoria Whitmore. Exactly like the photos. Impeccable. Not a wrinkle on her dark wool coat. Precise heels. Perfect posture. Her leather handbag rested on her forearm like a natural extension of her presence. She didn't walk fast. She had no reason to. She radiated the kind of confidence only people who've never had to justify their existence possess. The world parted for her. And she knew it. I approached. Mrs. Whitmore. She stopped with a slight turn, measuring exactly how much space she needed to occupy. Her eyes locked on mine, curious, unafraid. Yes. Do I know you? No. But we have something in common. My voice was steady. It didn't shake even though inside everything was knotted. She raised an eyebrow, an elegant, almost theatrical gesture. About? I pulled the phone from my coat, opened the conversation between Sophia and Daniel, and turned it toward her in silence. Her eyes dropped. It took her only seconds. She didn't need to read everything. A few lines were enough. The reaction on her face wasn't shock, rage, or instant pain. It was subtler. A draining of color. A clean cut. Like part of her had switched off. I expected commotion. Maybe tears. But there was none of that. Just a flash of disbelief. Then a flawless recomposure. The face she showed next was that of an executive ready to negotiate in hostile territory. You're certain of this? Positive. I'm not here to make a scene. I just thought you deserved to know. Silence. A car passed. A child yelled in the distance. But between us nothing moved. She glanced at the phone again, then handed it back with a sharp motion. "Do you have a plan?" That's when I knew I'd underestimated her. Victoria Whitmore didn't break. She counterattacked. I nodded. "Yes. And it includes you." She didn't look surprised. She just crossed her arms and held my gaze, with intensity but also calculation. "I'm listening." The Chelsea Lounge was a place for secrets. Dim lights, low music, hidden corners behind curtains. Tables far enough apart to create the illusion of intimacy. Exactly the kind of place Daniel and Sophia would choose to pretend the world didn't exist beyond their glasses and stolen touches. Victoria and I walked in together. We didn't speak. We didn't need to. Our steps were deliberate, synchronized. We were two different people with one shared purpose: the truth. We saw them immediately. A discreet corner by a column. Sophia leaning toward him, smiling. Her hand playing with the stem of a wine glass while Daniel talked and laughed at something. His hand was on her thigh like she already belonged to him. My stomach twisted. Victoria paused for a second beside me. Arms crossed, face impassive, but I noticed the tightness in her jaw. "Ready?" I murmured without looking away. "Let's make them sweat," she replied. Her voice was soft and firm, a blade wrapped in velvet. We walked over with purpose. Sophia laughed just as I slid into the booth next to her. Her laugh died the instant she registered my presence. Her body went rigid. Her breath caught. The smile vanished from her lips like a candle snuffed out. Daniel took a second longer. At first he looked annoyed by the interruption. He turned and then he saw her. "Victoria." The color drained from his face. He froze. The glass trembled in his fingers. Victoria sat across from him with lethal elegance, wearing the coldest smile I'd ever seen. "Hello, darling," she said. No one spoke. The air between us turned heavy, almost physical. The lounge sounds seemed to fade. At that table only one thing existed: collapse. Sophia's hand was still on the table, frozen. Her eyes darted between us, searching for understanding, for an escape. "Surprised to see me?" I said, keeping my voice low and controlled. "Mark, I thought you were home," Sophia whispered. I should have been. Blissfully ignorant. Making dinner for my wife who claimed she was dining with colleagues. The words came slow. Each one a hammer against the facade they'd built. Daniel kept staring at Victoria, like he was waiting for her to stand up, to say it was a misunderstanding, that he could still be saved. "Am I interrupting?" Victoria asked sharply, tilting her head like she was examining a defective piece. "Amelia," Daniel murmured. Silence. Wrong name. Victoria didn't blink, but her fingers gripped the table like claws. "Try again, darling. Are you so used to lying that you don't even know who you're with tonight?" Sophia opened her mouth, closed her eyes, then opened them again, trying to control the tremble in her lips. "Mark, please. Not here," she begged. Her voice shook, not from guilt but fear. Fear of damage she didn't yet realize was already done. "Why not?" I replied, still calm. "You didn't seem to mind being here with him." Head started turning. The couple at the next table stopped eating. The nearest waiter pretended not to look. Daniel shifted in his seat. Cleared his throat. "Could we talk about this privately?" Victoria laughed. It wasn't warm. It was dry, hollow, like glass breaking inside a vault. "No, Daniel. Privacy is a luxury you lost when you brought your affair to a public place." The tremor in her voice was almost imperceptible, but it was there. A sign that yes, she felt something. But not fear. Absolute control. Sophia went pale. She realized no one was walking away from that table unscathed. Not emotionally. Not socially. I looked at both of them. The pain I felt was no longer a sharp stab. It was deeper, a stable fracture. Like a crack in a foundation you can't see but that keeps spreading inside. "This is just the beginning," I said, looking at Sophia. "Don't bother denying it. We already have everything we need." Victoria adjusted her coat slowly. Daniel tried to speak but only made an awkward sound, like someone had stolen his language. "You deserve what's coming," she said, emotionless. And with that we stood up. As we left the lounge I could feel eyes following us, some curious, some morbid. But it didn't matter anymore, because the show had started, and we had taken the first seats. Victoria and I didn't need to follow Sophia and Daniel when they fled the lounge. The moment they crossed that door, visibly defeated, said everything. The shame had already done its job. There was no need to chase, scream, or drag the scene out another second. The blow had been precise, public, and final. The next day the scandal didn't just linger, it exploded. Apparently someone at the Chelsea lounge had recorded part of the encounter. I don't blame them. In a room full of influential people, a betrayal like that is more than gossip. It's fuel. The footage leaked. First on private forums. Then on social media. Then on society blogs. By the third day several news outlets were covering the quiet scandal rocking Manhattan. Daniel was suspended from his law firm. In hours his image as the impeccable, respected, self-assured man crumbled. The board at Whitmore and Hale issued a cold statement. Indefinite suspension pending internal review. But soon other rumors surfaced. Questionable corporate expenses, unjustified trips, inappropriate conduct with younger female employees. What started as a moral fall turned into a formal investigation. And the firm that once carried his name stopped acknowledging him publicly. Sophia, meanwhile, was erased from her social circle. Friends who once defended her fiercely stopped answering her messages. Dinner invitations, events, launches, all vanished without explanation. She was even removed from private groups she considered part of her routine. Her name now caused discomfort. She was no longer the charming wife of Mark. She was the one who ruined everything. They both lost far more than they thought was at stake. And though many would say that was enough, for Victoria and me it wasn't. There was one more piece on the board. One more stage. One more audience. The Whitmore and Hale Charity Gala. The annual event where Manhattan's elite gathered. Executives, politicians, bankers, artists, all under one roof, pretending perfection between speeches and expensive wine. Daniel couldn't miss it. Despite his suspension, he was still a host. Sophia, of course, would accompany him, not out of loyalty but desperation. It was their last chance to pretend everything was fine. And that's when we did it. One screen. One file. The exact moment. While the MC spoke about generosity and the firm's core values of integrity, the image changed. No one saw it coming. Text messages. Photos. Dates. Hotel bookings. Everything projected in crystal clarity. No audio needed. Silence fell over the ballroom instantly. The music stopped. The murmurs died. The city's elite read in real time the double life of two of their own. Sophia and Daniel fled. Her face wrecked, makeup running. Him trying, and failing miserably, to contain the chaos. We didn't follow. Not that night. Not ever. Because there was nothing left to see. Sophia moved in with her sister in Connecticut. No social media. No friends. No events. Some say she started therapy. Others say she still thinks it was all an overblown conspiracy. I haven't heard her voice since that night. Daniel was formally investigated for financial fraud and workplace misconduct. His name is no longer on the firm's door. Even colleagues who once admired him distanced themselves. He tried applying elsewhere. No one wanted him near. His carefully built reputation, decades in the making, collapsed in weeks. Victoria left for Paris. She decided one ordinary morning. Sent me a short message. I'm not staying to watch the ruins. I'm going to build a new life. I wished her peace. And honestly, I was glad she found the strength to leave without looking back. And me? I left too. Not as far. Not as elegantly. But I left. Sold the house. Donated what I didn't need. Changed my number, my routine, my way of being in the world. I took the time to breathe. And one day, without realizing it, I woke up and didn't feel pain. No sadness. No anxiety. Just an inner silence I hadn't known in a very long time. I don't want to say I won. Because no one wins in this. But I did reclaim something I thought was lost forever. My life. My identity separate from the betrayal. My worth untied from what someone else chose to do. And for me that was enough.